It's, so you'll be able to keep up, and that the person that is the citizen will just repeat in their language, okay? I know that we have one interpreter sitting down. Is anybody else interpreting today for anyone? Okay, so that would be the same, yeah. Just saying it in their language, following along with the court clerk, okay? Is there any other questions? I will say that during the ceremony, when I come back up here, we will begin with this gentleman over here. I'll give him the instructions as far as when he will begin, and each one of you will stand, and after he speaks and starts first, the next one stands, the next one stands. You'll want to speak your name and the country of birth, where you're from, and make sure that you speak it loud enough and slow enough that everyone in the courtroom hopefully can hear you. So, any other questions before we get started today? No questions? Okay. Congratulations again.
The United States District Court for the District of Kansas is now in session. The Honorable James O'Hara presiding. God save these United States and this honorable court.
Morning, everybody. Please be seated. The United States District Court for the District of Kansas is convened today in special session to conduct naturalization proceedings. We'll entertain a motion by the United States of America, acting by and through its naturalization examiner, for those of you who wish and have shown yourselves qualified to become new citizens of the United States. On behalf of our court, please allow me to extend a warm welcome to all of our new citizens, as well as their family and friends gathered here today. My name is James O'Hara. I'm a United States Magistrate Judge, and it is my distinct privilege and honor to preside over your admission to citizenship today. A few introductions and acknowledgments are appropriate at this time. First, I'm pleased to have the assistance today of Misty Deaton, who just stood and is seated in front of me. She's our courtroom deputy clerk, and she'll be the person who administers the oath of citizenship to you later during these proceedings. I'd also like to acknowledge that we have with us representatives of the Kansas Society of the Sons of the American Revolution. You'll see them in their official garb on the rear of the jury box to my left in the courtroom. They'll be presenting the colors and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. And finally, I want to acknowledge the Department of Homeland Security and the Office of Citizenship and Immigration Services. Their dedicated employees, along with Lindy Russell of our court staff, have arranged for today's ceremony. Those of you who become new citizens today are following a road that is traditional for most citizens of the United States. That is, most of us are citizens like you who have become naturalized, or we have ancestors who came to America not long ago from another country. Virtually all Americans came here to gain religious, economic, and political freedom. They came here to escape oppression and to seek the opportunity for a better life, improving their general welfare, not just for themselves, but also for their children and generations to follow. My own ancestors, just a few generations ago, came to this great country from Ireland during a devastating famine. Now, those gathered in the rear of the courtroom as part of our audience today may be interested to know that the Congress of the United States passed the first naturalization law more than 200 years ago, back in 1790. Since then, there's always been a judicial proceeding as part of the naturalization process, and our court is delighted to be a part of it and hopefully make this a very special event in your lives. At this time, the court recognizes the naturalization examiner, Ms. Sandy Payton, who will introduce each of our new citizens today. Ms. Payton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, Your Honor. This morning I would like to present to you 23 countries and 41 applicants for United States citizenship. They have met the formal requirements imposed by the law for United States citizenship. Upon taking the oath of allegiance, each will have the rights, the privileges, and responsibility of United States citizenship. Each of you will have the opportunity right now to stand and state your name loudly and clearly and the country that you came from. And we will start right here with this gentleman.
Don't be bashful.
Has everyone had an opportunity to stand and state their name and the country that they've come from? Anybody that we missed? Okay. At this time, the government moves that the oath of allegiance be administered to the prospective citizens of the United States and that all petitions for change of name be granted.
Thank you, Ms. Payton. Without objection and with great pleasure, the motion of the United States is hereby granted. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, you'll be taking the formal oath of citizenship and allegiance to the United States. In taking this important and solemn oath, instead of simply repeating the words, I'd ask that each of you, and indeed everybody in this room, consciously bear in mind the many freedoms and rights for which the founders of this nation labored and fought so valiantly. All too often, particularly those of us who were born in this country, we tend to forget that so many before us literally made the ultimate sacrifice of their own lives to secure the freedoms that all of us enjoy today. We should never take these freedoms for granted, lest we lose them someday. These freedoms and rights are summed up in the Declaration of Independence, and later they became the framework of the United States Constitution and its first 10 amendments, now commonly known as the Bill of Rights. Your conduct indicates that you agree with the principles expressed in the Constitution and that you'll keep your oath to support and defend it. The oath of allegiance has two basic parts. In the first part, you'll renounce your allegiance and fidelity to any foreign country, state, or sovereignty. And in the second part, you'll swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign as well as domestic. As you're led through the oath of allegiance by Ms. Deaton, you may also read it from your program. And at this time, I'd ask that all of our new citizens please stand and follow along with Ms. Deaton.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law. And that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations.
Please be seated. I imagine many of your family and friends will be congratulating you in just a moment. But please allow me the distinct privilege and honor of being the very first to congratulate you as new citizens of the United States. You bring with you many diverse talents and experiences, and the United States is truly a better and a stronger country with you among its citizens. The United States is by no means a perfect nation, but respectfully I would submit it to be the greatest of all nations in the history of mankind. And just as importantly, it has the potential to become yet a better country. But how does that work? I believe President John F. Kennedy, during his inaugural speech back in 1961, probably stated this best. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. So how do we go about making this a better country? There are many ways, and there are different views on this, but if you'll allow me the privilege, I would suggest that becoming a new citizen is a very difficult process. Some of the people in the rear of the room may not be aware of that, but it's a very difficult process. But serving as a good citizen is even more difficult. It is hard work. And I would suggest that as you go about that, the key ingredients to becoming a good citizen would be the following. First, get informed about your country and the politics of our country and the economics of our country. And stay informed. And challenge your preconceived notions about things. If you are conservative by nature, expose yourself to liberal or progressive media sources. If you lean more toward the progressive or liberal side of things, expose yourself regularly to conservative views, instead of just being in an echo chamber where you sit in front of a TV all day or online with a computer and get exposed to the same views that you've heard over and over again. That is not helpful. Get involved with your communities. Get involved at the grassroots level in your churches, synagogues, mosques, schools, whatever. Help your fellow citizens do the work of living in this country. Register to vote and exercise that right, not just in the presidential elections that come about every 4 years, but at all levels, for your school boards, for your city council, for your state representatives. Those are the people, I would submit to you, that have more of a direct impact on the way that you're going to live your life in your various communities, whether it be on the Missouri side or Kansas. If you register to vote, it would not be unusual for you to be summoned to serve on a jury from time to time. And although many people try to get out of jury service, I would hope that you would not do that. I've had occasion to preside over dozens of jury trials during my years on the court, and I see people come into court and you could tell that they each have a story or a strategy to get out of serving because they think they're too busy or too important to serve. And that's a huge mistake. This system of justice that we have in this country depends on good folks like you who have important things to do in their daily lives, taking time out of their daily lives to settle disputes, whether they be of a criminal nature or a civil. And I would suggest that you should think about what would happen to this system for your family in particular if only those people that have nothing better to do showed up to decide your family's dispute. We want busy people, engaged, informed people to come into these courts and help settle these matters. I can honestly tell you that of all the jury trials I've presided over, I haven't had a single juror after the case was concluded who said anything other than this was enjoyable, this was rewarding, this was important, and I hope I get to do it again. I haven't heard anybody say this is a waste of time. And then finally, I would encourage you to, despite the poor level of discourse politically in this country in the last couple of decades, that we try all to improve that. Engage with people that hold fundamentally different views with you, whether that be religiously or politically, and listen to what they're saying and find out why they're saying those things, and politely and civilly engage with them. And only through civil discourse can I think we can improve things in this country. That's not to say you have to accept what they're saying. We're going to disagree about things, whether they be economic, political, religious, and that's fine. That's one of the things that makes this country strong. But I think we can do a better job about the way we go about doing that. Regardless of whether you accept these challenges, you now join your fellow citizens of this country and our forefathers in the continuing challenge to make the United States a better place to live in peace and to build upon its foundation as a land of freedom and liberty. We salute you and wish you well in your new status as citizens. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd ask that you all stand as the colors are advanced and we're led in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order colors. Right face. Forward march.
Please be seated. Before we adjourn today, I'd like once again to express the court's heartfelt appreciation to everyone who has assisted in planning and conducting these proceedings. Immediately after we adjourn, there will be a reception and refreshments provided by the Daughters of the American Revolution. That reception will be in room 180 on the first floor of this courthouse. So if you take the elevator down to the first floor, look for the security station off to the side of that elevator bank, and then take a right, follow the hallway, and you'll find room 180. I would invite our new citizens, if they wish, to remain in place for a few minutes following adjournment of court to allow for photographs. Please take those photographs in an orderly manner and be considerate of each other, avoiding any disruption of decorum here in the courthouse. All photography is under the general supervision of the U.S. Marshal and the court security officers, but I'm confident that they'll be considerate of your desires. If you're not able to obtain all the photographs you wish here in the courtroom, you may also take those down in the reception room, and there are suitable backdrops for photographs down there. In closing, the court warmly congratulates each and every one of you. We genuinely hope that your new status as citizens brings with you the joy and the happiness it's brought to others who have taken the same step as you have here today. As I mentioned earlier, please strive to remember on a daily basis, if at all possible, that with the rights and privileges of citizenship, there are also responsibilities and the duty to similarly respect the rights and privileges of your fellow citizens. I trust that you will accept and discharge your responsibilities with courage and fidelity to the United States. Thank you all for your attendance and participation in today's proceedings. This court is now adjourned.